Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to my presentation. I am Gerard Paligot. Come from France, and I'm working at Decathlon Digital as mobile staff engineer. I am also Google developer expert in Android, but today I am very happy to be there because for the first time, I will present you a project built in intern at Decathlon, but open sourced like for 2 years ago now. It's named Vitamin. And before we start, who know Vitamin here? Maybe just by name. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, not a lot. So great, you will learn something today, or I hope. Well, Vitamin is a cross-platform design system. What it means, well, you have multiple implementation. The first one, you can see the logo of Figma, so dedicated for designers. And for this one, we have 3 variants. One for the web, one for Android, and one for iOS. What it means? Well, it means that the Vitamin is respect the design system of the platform, because the Android version of Vitamin is not the same than iOS version of Vitamin. So of course, we respect the material design guidelines for Android and the Apple guidelines for iOS, for example. And due to this paradigm, we have technical implementation. So you can see here NPM, Android, and iOS. And we have some variants too, because we have XML and Jetpack Compose for Android, and today we'll make a focus on Jetpack Compose. Who already built a design system here? Okay, okay. And so if you build a design system, you probably know atomic design. If not, what is atomic design? It is a categorization of elements inside your design system. First, you have atom elements with all typography, font family, colors, semantics, etc. With these atoms, you can build molecule. So you can find here buttons, an avatar, but you can also find there a radio button, checkbox, switch, etc. With molecules and atoms, you can build organisms. So here you can find a complex item for a list, or no, it's neither in a product page, in a user page, and you can find also the bottom navigation bar from material design. Because this component is multiple molecules with the buttons, an icon button, on a surface, so it is an organism. After that, you have templates and pages, which is the final step of your design system. It is not in the design system, it is more in your final application, of course, because here we have a user page you can reuse inside your application to show the user information. Okay, so now we have the foundation. Let's start to see the Compose implementation. And before that, we will see the Compose architecture. So first, we have atom elements here with this Gradle module in the project. So you can find the foundation one, which is the all atoms elements with color, semantics, typography, font family, etc. We'll see them later. And you have also assets and icons, which is not very in the atomic design principles, but they are used inside components, so we put them here. After that, you have molecules with a lot of molecules, because the large number of components inside the material design and so inside Vitamin are molecules. But you can also find some new one, and more particularly in the organism element, where you can find quantity picker or rating, for example. And finally, you have the final artifacts, which is used by consumer application, so to have the entire of the design system. So here, Vitamin, of course. OK. Let's say the foundation. So first here you can find the first element in the foundation, the color palette, which is accessible from an object class named vitamin palettes, and with inside all variants of each color. So you can find here an example with purple color, but you have the same thing with blue, green, conifer, etc. This palette is not used by our components or by final application, of course. They are using semantic colors. You can find here an example with background, but we have also the content, borders, and decorative semantic colors. And first thing you can notice here is that this is not the same colors than material 2 or material 3. Why? Because material 2, when we start to build the design system and want to create a branded application, we think that material 2 is too much restrictive to build an entire real-life application. So we add some new one, and when we check the material 3 semantic colors, we see that there is too much complex according to the dynamism inside the color calculation. So we have a mix of both, and we create vitamin semantic colors, which is specific to vitamin. We also have a font family. So here you can find Roboto and Roboto Condensate. They are used inside our semantic typography, which are pretty the same than material design. But we had some new one, like text 3 or the bold version of text 1, 2, and 3. OK, and finally, we have chips with 8 variants, 100 to 800. Great. Now we need to have locals to initialize these semantics, to be accessible everywhere, and to inject them in the vitamin theme. So we have 3 locales for color, typography, and chips. And we have an object class named vitamin theme, like material theme, to be able to access to the colors, typography, and chips. In the foundation, we have this internal composable, which is used to initialize our locales. So here, provide vitamin resources. And you can see the composition local provider call for the initialization. And this composable function is used inside another composable named vitamin theme, which is public, which is the composable you need to use if you want to use vitamin. And you can see the call to this internal composable, but you can see also the call to material theme composable. What it means? Well, if you want to use material design inside vitamin theme, we provide a mapping between vitamin and material. So if vitamin don't cover the component yet, you can still use material component inside the vitamin theme. So you should not see vitamin as a competitor of material design, but more like an extension. OK, let's start to see an implementation with vitamin. I have here a product page, pretty simple, with a top-up bar, some text, a price, a rating, etc. And we'll see how we can develop it with vitamin. So first, we make a focus on the top-up bar. We have some parameter, 3 callback, a property, its favorites. And we will use the component from vitamin. And what you can see, I'm using something called vitamin top bars and a call primary. And I need to make a focus first on how to access to vitamin components. We make a big decision in the architecture of vitamin, where all components are inside an object class. So this is true for the top-up bar, but this is true for all other components. And so we have here a vitamin top bars object class. And when we have a call to this object class, so when we type vitamin top bars dots, we have all suggestion of a top-up bar in Android Studio. And so I know that I can use the primary one, which is the default one in Vitamin, but I can use the search version of the top-up bar to have a search bar inside my top-up bar. Great. So I come back to my example, and I'm using the primary version. The only mandatory parameter is the title, so I give the title, which is product page, modifier, OK. And now I want to configure the navigation icon. Again, we make a lot work on the contract of our composable to be able to help the developers. Here you can find again the Vitamin top bars object class, and inside the primary function I have a parameter called navigation icon, which is an API slot because I want to have a composable call inside, but with a scope named Vitamin navigation icon buttons. What is it? What is this scope? It is an object class again with a list of composable. So here you can find the previous page composable or the context one, which is the arrow we want to display. And we display in every application when we want to come back to the previous page. And so why we do that? Because in Android Studio, when you do this kind of thing, you have the auto-suggestion of this composable. And so when we come back to our example, I can find here context composable and display the correct icon in my navigation icon. Great. I declare here the list of action I want to display at the right. So it is no more an API slot here like material design, but a list. And so I just need to give a list, and I can have a dynamic list if I want to change according to the context of my application. I just need to make a change inside this list. But here I have two icons, and it stays during the life of the screen. So I have an action item for the share button and an action item for the search button with a switch when it is favorite or not. I want to use the fill or the line version of this icon. OK. Another important thing about this, we don't use XML to to display an icon in Vitamin. We have a converter from SVG file to Kotlin file to be able to stay in Kotlin when we use Vitamin. Like you have the same thing with material design with the artifact material icon extended, if I remember well. Great. So I finished my top-up bar. Next one is my product information. So I skip the list of image because there is no Vitamin inside. The next one is product information. So I have here first a list column with a flow row to display the list of tags applied to my product page. So I declare my column, I declare my flow row, I make a for each on my list of tags, and I will use the Vitamin tags object class to access to the variant decorative gravel, and I have the correct display in my preview. Great. After that, I declare my text. I configure it with a style which comes from vitamin10.typography. So I have the correct display. And finally, I declare a row to display at the left my rating and at the right my price. And you can find here something interesting because there is not a lot of code to display all these things. Because I'm using a design system which provides me something very customizable, I can use the correct variants of a component to fit my screen and to build my screen. So cool. I'm using the read-only compact variant for the rating and the accent variant of the price to display the yellow background, and I have my product info. Finally, I have my product action with two callbacks, so two buttons. First one to add the product in my basket, and the second one to pay in one click the product, so very easy. I declare my column. I'm using the conversion variant of the button and the primary revert variant of for the second button, and I have my product actions. Great. So now we will build the entire screen. So yeah, we have here the product page with all parameters I want to use in my sub-components. I make space because there is a lot of code here. First, I declare my scaffold with the top-up bar, so I have the correct preview here. Second, I declare my lazy column with the first item, which is the list of picture. So this is not vitamin, so I don't stay on that. And I declare another item from my product info and another one for my product action, and it is all. For information, I build this screen in like 13 minutes, just for the demo. I will link the source code at the end of the presentation. And even if you don't use Vitamin, I encourage you to build a design system for your application, because it is really useful and you become very productive in your development with a design system. Great. What's next? You remember I talked to you about atomic design. I make a mistake about that because the atom element is not the smallest part of an atomic design. Before you can have ions elements, which is tokens. It is a lightning tool, so I will not enter deeply inside this concept, but tokens is very useful to describe all your components and all your ecosystem inside the design system. For example, here I have the button color tokens in three categories. I have core tokens, semantic tokens, and components tokens about colors, but I have the same thing for spacing, for typography, etc. And I can make association with all of these tokens. So the read is not from the core to the component, but it is the component to the core, because a component token have a reference to a semantic token, and a semantic token have a reference to a core token. And so if I want to change my theme, I just need to change my core tokens. So here's some example. You can display here the usage of these tokens. So you can find the background and the content color tokens. And if I want to create a new button, I just need to create new component tokens. So here I switch from the primary one to the tertiary one, and I have a new component. If I want to build a dark mode of this component, I just need to switch the association between core tokens and semantic tokens, and I have a dark version of my components. And a very interesting thing with token is that I have a structure of all my components and all the contexts. At Decathlon, we have a JSON file which describes all these tokens. And because it is structured with a JSON file, we can generate everything. In the next version of Vitamin, we will generate all core elements, all semantics, and all components. And we make and the developer part, the contributor parts inside Vitamin, we can make a focus on the contract of our components, and no more about the internal thing behind the components. So it's very, very cool. Thank you to listen to me. Here are some reference. If you want to check the Vitamin open source links, there are all of them here, with the Figma one, all technical project, web, Android, iOS, etc. There is also Slack if you want to exchange with the maintainer of this design system. My slide 2, if you want to check it again. This is a lightning version of my presentation, but on my speaker deck you will find the long version of this presentation. I have a GitHub project for the demo inside my slide. And if you want to see a real-life project with Vitamin, you have the conference for all projects, because I'm also a JDG at Lille in France. And this application is used for the DevFast Lille conference. And so it is today a production application with Vitamin and material design tree. Thank you.